Welcome once again. I'm just going to move because that light's shining straight in my eyes. How about I put it there? Welcome back. Look, today we're going to look at the Gyaku Ude-Garami. So Garami is from the verb karamu, to entangle. So Ude-Garami means an arm entanglement. And there's different ways to do it. There's fundamentally three. One like that, one like that, one like that. And the Gyaku Ude-Garami is affectionately known as the Kimura in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's called Kimura, named after Masahiko Kimura. And the main thing is that's the technique that he used in his famous match with Elio Gracie. I understand he broke his arm with it. It's the same technique that Sakuraba used against Henzo and Hoyler and Hoyce, I think, a few of the Gracies with great success. So it's a really good technique. It's also very easy to find. Not so easy to finish sometimes, as we know. So we're just going to look at some of the approaches to the Kimura technique today. So the first thing to remember is we're just going to do it in close proximity. So the Kimura from a standing position starts here. Okay, an easy way to remember is that if I'm attacking Mitch's left arm, my left arm goes over. And I like to start by putting my hand on my chest like this. If I had a gi on, I'd hold my gi. We wore t-shirts on purpose so you could see the arm movement. Come up here. This arm is more important than this arm. So if I'm looking for the Kimura with Mitch, I get a collar tie and I hold here and I go for the Americana, that grip is gone, okay? But if I come here and come to this position, now it's hard for Mitch to extricate his arm, and it's easy for me to just come on there, okay? So I think that's really important to understand that pull down, I don't want to grab the wrist first because that can, he can work on breaking the wrist. What I want to do is I'll grab here, boom, come to here. Now, I have this arm locked up. Now, if he tries to pull his arm out, see that? It's really quite hard. Then I'm going to come into here. I'm still squeezing my arm pretty tight there. And I have the grip. Thumb over, thumb under. Choice is yours. I prefer the thumb over because if I want to get a rotation on it, I can do it better than I can. I can only rotate so far here. But when I have my thumb over, I get a nice rotation. Okay? So in a stand-up situation, it can be here. I can come here, I take the arm, and I can squat down and take Mitch to the ground. We're not going to go there. We're going to actually just show the position. Once again, come here, pull the arm, bang. I need to get this position first. Then I can go to there. If I come here, go for the wrist, and then go for it, I'll lose it 9 times out of 10. I want to come in here, and I like to bring my hand up to here. Sometimes you can even bring it to here, and then go back down. Okay? In a stand-up position, I can step through here and finish. Let me show you this way. Oops, sorry, Mitch. I can stand up here and finish, drop my arm down, and finish by taking the forearm to there. Remember, the length of lever is really important. If I hold my arm here and Mitch's arm there, and I try to finish, I have zero chance of getting the leverage. So I come down to here, and I do what I call the 3-and-1 or the 31. I have 3 fingers on his hand, 1 finger on his wrist, and I'm here. Sometimes I like to even have my own hand. Now when I do it and Mitch resists, it's much harder to resist. When I'm here, Mitch resists, I can't do it. Okay, there, it's much easier. Okay, so you can see why it's called an arm entanglement. And it's called Gyaku Ude-Garami or reverse Ude-Garami because this is Ude-Garami. And this is the technique we've demonstrated numerous times out of Pinan 2. 1, 2. So in Pinan 2, the last movement, 1, 2, there. Same thing, 1, 2, there. Now that's Ude-Garami, an arm entanglement. Right arm, here. I bury the elbow into the chest. I can headbutt there, elbow there, and take him down. If I do right arm, left arm, and come in, it's too easy for Mitch to get out, and he headbutts me. Okay? I have to go right arm on right arm, and I bury his elbow in the little nook in my chest and armpit area. If he tries to headbutt me, I just put pressure there. Okay, so that's Ude-Garami. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's called the Americana because it was taught to the Gracies by an American catch wrestler. And Holmes Gracie took responsibility and named it the Americana so they wouldn't forget where it came from. Ude-Garami and then Gyaku Ude-Garami. Okay, and we're just going to quickly come back for a second, have a chat, and then we're going to go to the mat and show you ways to finish that technique. It'll break, it'll dislocate, it'll break the shoulder, break the elbow. I've even seen where it snaps the humerus bone.
Really?
Yeah, so it can shoulder, elbow, and the forearm all there at once. Pretty quiet today, but anyway, let's have a look at that. Now, if you can subscribe, if you haven't subscribed, I heard there's a couple of them out there still. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. Also, the best way to help us is to pass information on to everybody and tell them to get along and check this out. Okay, so we're going to set up now, and we're just going to briefly show you how we can finish these on the ground as well. Okay. Just lie on this.
Probably have to tilt it a bit more. That's it.
Beautiful. Okie doke. So here we are. Just lie down, Mitch. So there's different ways to enter it too, by the way. If Mitch is there and he's sitting up, I can quite easily throw him over and then reach. And then there's my Kimura. Then I just do a forward roll and catch it. It seems more athletic than it really is. It's actually very simple. Okay, but just to show you some of the mechanics of finishing it, first thing I'm going to do, just move your head to here. Okay, so you have entry on it. Where the head goes, the body follows. I'm going to cross and see how the body turns sideways. If Mitch turns towards me, but I do that, keep turning towards me, it's really hard for him to turn towards me. Okay, so I'm going to push that down, and that brings this arm up, and I'm going to get right in tight to his armpit. Remember, Gyaku Ude-Garami, the Americana, his right arm, my right arm. Okay, I get behind the elbow. If I don't get behind the elbow, his elbow goes to the mat, and I've lost it. Zero chance. Okay, so what I want to do is I get my chest behind the elbow. I can even cross face, look, see that? Put my knee on his face, and boom. I'm going to be real careful because this carpet is not a carpet, it's actually a sandpaper. I'm going to go there, and I make sure that his face is facing down. Okay, now I'm going to let the pressure off. All I do now is I have my arm, I take it to my chest, I go 3-in-1 grip, hold my own hand, up, rotate, down. Now, to make it work, I need to be looking at his feet and roll there. I'm just going to do it the other arm so you can see more clearly. Left arm, left arm. I want to come in, put a lot of pressure there. Cross face. Come to here, look, I pull it up and I come down to there. I keep it tight. I keep rotating, and when it gets past the line of his body, I start to drop it down like that. If I'm here on the forearm, I don't have the lever, Mitch can just muscle out of it. Okay? If I come down with one finger on the wrist, 3 fingers on the hand, and I rotate, now Mitch tries to muscle out of that, he's got very little chance. Okay? And then I rotate. The next thing we have to realize is that sometimes what they'll do is they'll use this arm and they'll capture the hands like that. Now, normally I'd be cross-facing, smashing the face into the ground like that, but I'm not going to do that because Mitch is younger and stronger, so when it's his turn, he'll get really angry. Okay? The grip can be a bunch of different ways. Just got to remember that there's always an angle where the grip is weaker. So in this circumstance, I can push the grip down there. Come here. If he has an S grip, there, the weakness is in that direction. So I'll push it down there, come around. It could be a gable grip, in which case the weakness is in that direction. See, the grip will break there. So what I'll do there is I'll go to there and then come around. Okay? Sometimes they'll even do this sort of thing. All I'm going to do is flip my hand. Okay, so if he's grabbing his elbows, if I take this hand off without thinking about this, he'll unwrap that arm as well, and the next thing you know, he's gone. So to avoid that, what I do is, as I take this hand off, I'll flip my own hand over. See, like that? I'll just flip it there. So now it kind of captures his hand and gives me a second or two to be able to control the arm. Okay, so this entanglement where he's actually fighting to keep his hands under control is very, very strong, and it can make it very difficult to finish the technique. Most important thing is I keep this arm in, and I want to push, clear the hands. He has another way of doing it, perhaps. There, like that. Yeah, this. Yes, remember, that's where the weakness is. So I'm going to go down. See that? Look, if Mitch grabs on pretty strong there, I just go in the direction. If I pull up, I'm never going to break the grip. So what I do is I use my whole body to push down, break it, so he can't bring it high, so he can't connect his hands again, and then finish the technique. Okay, there's a multiple number of ways that he can grab the hand, but remember that usually there's an angle which is weak to it. Another thing that you might like to do, which I do all the time, is I use this knee on his forearm. See that? So now when he grips, I'll come here on the forearm, and then I can finish the technique in that way as well. That's when his body is vertical. Sometimes you go across the body as well. Here, like this. I can bring my elbow, drop my elbow in his head, come under here, and once again, grab the wrist with 1 and 3, the 3-in-1 grip I call it, and I pull it in. If I go up the forearm there, and I fight it, get out of it, I can't stop it, because the lever's not long enough. But if I come down here, 1 and 3, and come in there and ask Mitch to straighten his arm, he's zero chance. I come up here, and he can straighten it. 1 finger, 3 fingers. So that gap there is where the wrist bone is. And I come in here. Now he tries. It's very hard. Okay? And what I can do there is put this elbow on the mat, switch my feet, and take the arm behind his back. Okay? Another very strong way that I learned is I'm going to come in here, pull the arm in, and switch it to this hand. See that? There. Push that in and finish. That's very tight. And it's very hard for Mitch to break that grip. Try and break it. It's impossible. I push here like this, switch, there, switch, there. Sometimes you might even need to go there. Sometimes you can even step over. I try not to put my foot on the ground there because it gives too much of a frame. What I'll do is I'll put my leg on the head. I'm going to loosen the arm, but I put my leg on the head and push the head with my leg without putting the foot on the ground. That just creates a frame and space for him to clear his head. Whereas if I lift my foot and push it on his head, that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah, separating my body from my arm.
Yes.
Doing that.
Okay, so there, 1 finger, 3 fingers. I can drop my elbow on his head. Chances are you won't need the Kimura then. Come in here, hold my own hand and finish. Or I can even come into here like this. See how tight that is? I mean, I take it as close as I can to Mitch's armpit as possible. Elbow, and my arm runs parallel to Mitch's body. See that? Then what I'm going to do is just take it under his body. Sometimes strong guys will straighten their arm. If they straighten their arm, you can keep going and do a straight arm bar. But if you want to bring it in, I try to pull it in, I can't. So what I can do is I can actually lift Mitch's body up and move his body to his hand. See that? Let's move back a little bit. So Mitch's arm is straight and strong. I want to bend it in. I cannot bend it in. So what I'll do is I'll come here and I'll lift Mitch's body up and move it to his hand. See that? Once again. Try to bring Mitch's arm in. I can't. It's too strong. So I'll plant it on the mat. Lift his body and move his body to his hand. See that? And that's brought it into the position that I want it to be in. And then once again, finish the technique. Away, okay? So we'll come back now. So there you have it, guys. Marco, Horse Harry, nice to see you again. Marco, Shihan, was that a preferred technique to escort out undesirables? Definitely not. I'll tell you why. The Ude-Garami itself is probably more useful, but this one doesn't really lend itself to escorting someone because you've got to be facing this way. And the possibility of, there are too many things that they can do, okay? The preferred choice was simply this, here, and then you get 2 of you on it, and if no one's watching, you slip over. But that's probably more of a preferred choice there. You head down, arm up, and then you capture the arm, someone else on the other side as well. I mean, look, I don't want to go into that because that's not my area of specialty, and it's been 40 years since I worked doors, but that's a good way to take them out. But the Kimura isn't really useful for that sort of thing. Rochelle, 1,000 push-ups have been late. Awesome back to grappling techniques, perfectly complement our Kyokushin karate stand-up. Exactly. I think it's very important. And here's the thing. Here we are in the stand-up situation. We're here like this, and I want to drop someone down, collar tie, boom, and then I can finish the Kimura straight away. And there are ways where we can flip. It's very hard to do on this hard surface. We'll give it a shot. Do you want to?
I'd love to.
Yeah. But we're here. We come into this position, okay, and then I'm going to do it in a very strange way because there, like that, because it's kind of dangerous, and we don't have mats. But what you can do is you can sit down here, sit down, and then flip there, like that. And then there are control positions. Then there are control positions in that position as well. So you can get from stand-up to that position. Gyaku Ude-Garami. Remember, Ude-Garami, I think, probably lends itself even more to the stand-up situation. You're here, and then as they throw the punch, I can come up and capture, boom, and take them down very suddenly. Catches them off guard. Boom, here, this position. That's Ude-Garami. We're talking about Gyaku Ude-Garami, or reverse Ude-Garami, or Kimura. Gyaku Ude-Garami is often known as the Americana, and that's very practical in this circumstance. Sometimes they'll grab your gi. Boom, there. What I do is palm heel, come in here like this, and then lock it up. Or don't let them get the grip. Straight away to there. Or they go for the grip, boom, oop, nothing, boom, there like that. Okay, so there are applications for the stand-up. Of course, we're it's interesting. I was listening to an interview recently, and they mentioned Peter Considine, I think his name is. Peter Considine is a British close quarter combat, unarmed combat instructor, and he was the one that uses that analogy I used about playing chess.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
On the chessboard.
And that in the dojo, we actually learn to look after each other, so we untrain ourselves for the violence that is present in a real violent situation. He said it's like two gentlemen playing chess, whereas a real fight is you have one guy expecting a chess match, the other guy picks the pieces up, throws them in his face, grabs the chessboard, and starts to beat him over the head with it. And that's a very interesting analogy. So even us, as we're demonstrating this technique, there are limits to what we can do because of the hard floor. Very interesting, though, isn't it?
I was just about to bring that up. We were doing this this week in training, and on the soft mats, it's so easy to do the flips. There's actually a couple of really interesting entries to this Kimura that Xian showed us today that are fantastic. And we can do them on the floor, but it's going to